Today we are going to go over how to access and use the library databases, as well as show you some other tips for searching using our library website, and we are going to discuss peer review. To get started, I am on the library's homepage, library.tamucc.edu. If you are on another university website, you can get to the library website by going to the bottom of the page, and under visitor information, you can visit our library website. As you can see, we have a lot of information. We have our quick search, which is kind of like searching Google, but instead of searching all of the internet, you are searching what we have access to in print and online in the library. We're also going to go over databases and research guides, but I'm also going to point your attention to the Ask Us section over here, excuse me. So after today, if you need to get into contact with the library, you can chat, call, text, email, or find your liaison. Again, that is me, but if you forget, you can go to this area and find my contact information there. You can also see when the library is open. I'm recording this on a Monday, and our hours today are 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. We also have view more hours. As you scroll down, you can see what kind of technology we have in our library, computers, iCreate Lab. We have specific resources for our different kinds of patrons, as well as information on course reserves, individual research help. If there's something that you need access to that the library doesn't have, how to get access to that, as well as some other things going on in the library. Obviously, our fall semester this year looks a little different because of COVID-19. So some of our in-person events that have taken place in the past are going to look a little different this year. We also have a library blog, a way to look at what computers are available in the library, a feedback box. Let us know what your feedback is about the library, either the website or physically in the library. You can follow us on Twitter, tweet at us, and follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. This video, when it's complete, will live on YouTube, as well as other tutorials and some other videos that are related to the library. Going back to the top, I'm going to show you quickly the databases. So if we click on this button below the quick search guide, this will open up a new tab. And as you can see, we have over 300 databases. So this is in every subject area. You can narrow down by subject to only look at the biology, the chemistry, coastal and marine system science, or if we scroll down, you can look just at environmental science. We have 40 databases that are specifically related to environmental science. We also have these best bets, which is kind of a long list. We could probably in the library look at how to narrow that down to help you out a little better. But I'm also going to show you one more place to look for how to get started with your research. If we go back to the top, there are a couple of ways to get to where I'm going to go. We can go back to our library homepage here, or click on research guides here. I'm going to go to my other tab that I have open. And as you can see under the quick search, we were at databases. Now we're going to go over to research guides. Research guides, or as we tend to call them in the library, LibGuides, are like literal library web pages that librarians have put together. Sometimes they are on specific subjects like art. Sometimes they are for specific classes, like we will see in a minute. And then sometimes they are for specific topical things. Like we have one for COVID-19 that describes how our services are differing a little this semester because of the pandemic, as well as things like our cell phone photography show and our Earth Week guide. So like I mentioned, these are organized by subject. You can also look at all of our guides here. We have 44 subjects. If we scroll down to environmental science, we see we have a couple of guides related to environmental science, just a general research guide to get you started, as well as one specifically designed for the ProSkills class. So we have some kind of basic intro information, again, how to get into contact with me if you need some one-on-one help beyond this video. And then we have finding research articles, and down here we have some other videos. This one is I'm going to cover most of the content in this video, but it's a shortened version. So if you want to refresh after watching this video with that, that's about 2 minutes long. And my former colleague Ed, put that together. And we have this other video that he put here on how to use keywords and filters. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that today, but this kind of goes into more detail. We also have this little bit on citation management tools. We're going to talk a little bit about citation management in this video, but this video goes into more detail here, and then how to set it up is described below here. And again, if you have questions about anything I'm going to go over today, please feel free to contact me. We're librarians, we love to help people. Please don't be afraid, there are no stupid questions. Please get in contact with us if you have any questions about what I'm going to talk about today or anything else library related or maybe not library related. Scrolling back to the top here, I also have this databases button. So we saw before that we have over 300 databases total. We also have 40 databases that are specifically on environmental science. So here we've narrowed it down even further. We have a couple of databases that are databases for general research. So Credo Reference is basically it's reference material, so it's kind of like one step up from Wikipedia. It's more encyclopedic information, but it's slightly more reputable than Wikipedia. There is a time and place for using Wikipedia. Please, like, I'm not the kind of person who's going to say never ever use Wikipedia. Don't cite Wikipedia, but Wikipedia, kind of like Credo Reference, is a great jumping off point. Academic Search Complete is a very comprehensive database. So it has journal articles as well as some other things that cover a lot of different topic areas, science related and beyond science. So that's kind of, if you're not really sure what your topic is or where to start, or you don't know much about your topic, those are good places to start: Credo Reference and Academic Search Complete. Down here we have a few more databases specifically to look for research articles. My two go-tos are Web of Science and Science Direct. All of these are great, but today we're going to talk a bit more about Web of Science and Science Direct. So I'm going to start by going into Web of Science. If you are off campus and you click on anything from our library website, at that point where I clicked here and it opened a new tab, you will be asked to log in unless you have already logged in for some other reason. So never start searching by just Googling like Web of Science, because it won't be able to authenticate you. It won't acknowledge that you're part of TAMUCC and you should have access. So please start from our library website, and there are various ways to get to the database, Web of Science or any other database you prefer to use, but always start from the library website because that will help get you in without having issues of, I can't log in, it's not letting me. But again, if you have issues, please contact the library. Okay, here I am in Web of Science, and it has thoughtfully saved my previous search, so we're just going to start here. I have typed in coral reef with an asterisk here, and I've also put coral reef in quotation marks. By putting an asterisk at the end of reef, what I'm telling the database is I am looking for articles that have the words coral reef, or the articles that have the words coral reefs, plural. I'm not particular, I don't care, it doesn't have to be singular, it doesn't have to be plural, but I'm looking for that. By putting it in parentheses, those double dashes on each side, not parentheses, excuse me, quotation marks. Yes, okay, sorry, my bad. By putting it in these quotation marks, I'm telling the database that I am looking for the words coral and reef or reefs to be next to each other and in that order. I'm not looking for the word coral generally anywhere. I'm not looking for the word reef anywhere. I'm looking for that term together, coral reef. A quick example that I like to use is the term Black Lives Matter. If you search for that term without quotation marks, you'll probably find results that say Black Lives Matter in that order, but you could get things about black, the color black, or something else, lives, living, dead, And matter, that could be, you could be talking about physics. But by putting quotation marks around your term, you're saying I'm looking for this particular term, not just these general random words. By saying and, I am telling the database that I'm not looking for the word and in the article. I am saying and in all capitals to tell the database that I am looking for this term, coral reef, and pollution. I'm not looking for the word and, but I'm looking for these two terms, these two keywords, but they don't have to be next to each other. They just both have to be somewhere within my search results. Okay, before I narrow down any more, I'm just going to hit search. And here it tells me that I have 909 results. That's kind of a lot. I'm probably not going to sit through and look for 909 results. Often databases will have a way to refine your results or narrow down your results, either on the side, at the top, or on the other side. Here we have it on the left. I can filter by looking for just things that are highly cited. I can also narrow down by publication year. Why would I want to narrow down by publication year? In sciences, as well as some other fields of study, we often want to look at like what's newer. So something that was published in 1973 probably isn't the newest idea or the newest research or the newest facts about what I'm looking at. So by going back about 5 years plus, because we're looking in 2020 a little bit, I'm saying what's kind of like the current trends on this topic. And by doing that, I've narrowed down to 414 results. As you can see, my results have been sorted by the times cited. So this means that this article here, microplastic ingestion, has been cited in 153 different papers in this collection alone. So it might have been cited more than that, but in this database that I'm looking at, I can look at 153 other papers that have cited this particular paper. So that means it's hot, it's being talked about, the research is being built upon. So that's a little bit about how to do some searching in Web of Science. You can also scroll down here and you can look at Web of Science has their own categories. So you might be interested in marine freshwater biology. But I would, unless you're certain of the category you're looking at, I would kind of leave that one alone. However, document type. We're looking for peer-reviewed articles. That is not going to be a review. That's not going to be a book chapter. It's not going to be a proceedings paper. I'm looking for articles. And I'm going to click that, and I'm going to narrow down my results to 369, and I'm going to refine. So we'll talk a little bit more about this in just a moment, but if I'm looking for peer-reviewed articles, if I'm in a database and I see article, that's what I want to narrow down to. Some databases will say you can narrow down to specifically peer-reviewed articles or scholarly articles. You can click that as well. If the database only offers article, it probably means that all of the articles in that database are peer-reviewed. So what do we mean when we say peer-reviewed? If I'm an expert on coral reefs and pollution, that's very general, but let's, for the time being, just say that. I write a paper. I do my research. I, do a lit review. I've seen what other people have done. I'm expanding on the conversation. I've done my own research. I've written my article with my conclusions, and I'm sending it to a journal. The editor of the journal might not be an expert in my specific research area. So what they're going to do is send it out to other experts in my field so that people who know what I'm talking about and have done work similar to the work I'm doing can look at it and say, yeah, that makes sense. Can you clarify this? How did you get here? Things like that to not only check the research, but also make sure that what is written about the research makes sense. Peer-reviewed isn't perfect. There are things that have been peer-reviewed and published that later need to be retracted. Vaccinations and autism is one example. And that is true in everything, that there are always flaws. But generally speaking, peer-reviewed helps keep the science, um, reviewed, peer reviewed. um, One thing I will say about that is that peer review takes time. So if I sort by date, I might have some articles that haven't even been published yet. I'm recording this in August of 2020, and this article will be published in November of 2020. So they're saying that they've accepted this journal. This article, it will be published. It just has not been published yet. Okay. So like I said, if you're in certain databases like the two that we're talking about here, Web of Science and Science Direct, you can be certain that they are peer-reviewed articles. If you are searching in something like Google Scholar, for example, and you're not sure if the journal is peer-reviewed or not, we have a tool for that, and I'm going to show you that in just a minute. I'm going to show you this real quick. Here I have coral reef with an asterisk, and the database doesn't like it because they call these wildcards. Asterisk is not supported in Elsevier. They like the question mark. So that's something to keep in mind with these kind of tricks like asterisks, question marks, as well as searching in general. Some databases, coral reefs might be the right search term. Other databases, you might not have the right search term. So it's kind of a trial and error in terms of how to talk to the database to get the results that you're looking for. So I searched for coral reef, question mark, which means reef and reefs, and pollution, and I have 8,505 results. I can do some of the same things that we did before, where I'm narrowing down to only a handful of years. I still have almost 3,000 results. Here we have review articles versus research articles. Now, both of these types of articles might be peer-reviewed. The difference is that research articles are original research. Scientists or authors did some kind of new experiment or research in that they had an experiment or survey new people or whatever it may be in the subject area. Whereas a review article, these authors aren't doing any new research. They're just looking at what's already been published and bringing in similar things and saying, here's what's out there. It's kind of like a big lit review. For now, I just want research articles, so original research. I still have 1825 results. That's still a lot. But I can kind of, now I can play around with, okay, what about pollution? Am I looking for microplastics, which is the first thing here? Am I looking at a specific geographical area? Maybe I can name a specific coral reef that I'm looking at, or two coral reefs, this one or this other one, to kind of compare them, what's going on. So there are ways to narrow down your results further. How to check if a journal is peer-reviewed or not. So what you're going to need is the name of the journal, which here is Science of the Total Environment, or some other information like the ISSN, which is the International Standard Serial Number, which I'm not seeing here, which is totally fine. I'm just going to copy. I didn't mean to click on that, but I just need Science of the Total Environment. I'm going to go back to our homepage, library.tamucc.edu, go back to databases, and I know the database I'm looking for starts with a U. This is Ulrich's Periodicals Directory. I'm going to type in the title of the journal, so not the title of the article, the title of the journal. I know that it's Elsevier. I know that it's online. I know this is hard to see. I don't know why they can't fix that. Sorry. Online Science of the Total Environment. And over here we see this little jersey looking thing, right? Like a referee for, soccer or football or whatever. This referee jersey means that this journal is peer-reviewed. In the States, we tend to call it peer-reviewed. In England and Europe, they tend to refer to the process as refereed. it means the same thing. So it means that, yes, this journal is peer reviewed. And like I said, pretty much everything you find in Science Direct, as long as you've hit that articles in your results page, you're looking for articles, not reviews, research article here, and you are looking for article specifically here, those are going to be guaranteed peer reviewed. If you're searching in our quick search on our homepage, what you can do is hit peer reviewed here. If you don't hit it here, and you can also say I want articles and peer reviewed, but if you don't do it here on this page, you can always do it here. So I have 64,000 results, I want peer reviewed, and I want a journal article, and I want the last 5 years. So this is giving me a lot more results than searching within those individual databases. 13,000, I thought 1,800 was a lot, but 13,000 is way more. Sometimes searching in our quick search is a good place to start. Other times it can be really overwhelming, which is why we suggest that you go to a particular database to do searching. However, here is where our quick search is super, super helpful. I mentioned citations before. If we are on Web of Science, some databases will have a really awesome cite this article. The Web of Science and Science Direct don't seem to have that really helpful, I want to cite this thing. You can export it and use some of these. You can use EndNote. I wonder if I do other file format. Okay. See, it doesn't have like, I want APA. That's what I'm looking for, right? Because that's how you're citing it for your paper. Oh, excuse that. So what you can do is look at this, copy the title, search for it in quick search. You can do it from this page or the home page. How come it's not the first thing? Because I didn't put it in quotation marks. Doodle-doo. Oh, bummer. Oh, clearing your filters. Ha. See? Okay. See? Because I already had. See? Aha. If I'd done it just from like a new homepage, it would have been the first thing. It wasn't now, but we had that helpful hint from our quick search. Now we can cite this item, and I can choose my citation format, APA, and I can copy and paste this into a Word doc or a Google Doc, however you're using, or you can export into Zotero or some other EndNote, RefWorks, etc., whatever you prefer. If you do end up going back to our guide that we were working on here, if you do end up following these Zotero instructions, I promise it will make your life easier in the future. It does take a little bit of getting used to. You have to download it or create a profile, and then you have to use the like Chrome extension or Firefox extension. But instead of doing that copy paste thing, what you can do is if you have the Zotero extension, you can just say save to Zotero. Oh no, I don't have Zotero open on my computer. Otherwise, I can just download it right into Zotero and it will show up for you. So same thing with Elsevier, Science Direct. They don't have that super easy citation button, so you can do the same thing of copying this, pasting it into quick search. Remember to clear your filters or it might not show up. And then you can use this tool here, and again it looks like the little quotation marks because you're citing, you're quoting the article. I think that's everything I wanted to go over today. As you can see in Science Direct, it has some of the same things that Web of Science has in terms of how many times and other articles have cited this article. You can see it's been cited twice. There are 6 readers. It's been tweeted twice. And you can also, if we go back to Web of Science, I'm just throwing a few more things at you to think about. This particular article that we looked at has not been cited at all because it hasn't been published yet. But we can see that this article has cited 57 other articles. So sometimes if you find like this perfect article that is exactly what I want to look at, you can look at what they've cited, and then depending on the database, a database will tell you who else has cited it as well. And so you can kind of track the conversation of the topic throughout time that way. Like I said, if we go back to our guide here, you can contact me or chat with a librarian. My information is here. And quickly, if we go back to the library homepage, we'll go to research guides, go to environmental science, go to professional skills. And that's how you'll find this guide with all the information about Zotero and the helpful information on databases. Thank you so much for your time. Please get in contact with me, email me if you have questions or if you're having trouble accessing anything. If you need help narrowing down your topic, we can talk through that. I am in my office. We're kind of doing like an every other week thing right now, but I am physically in the library every other week, Monday through Friday, and I'm also available almost every day, Monday through Friday, 8-ish to 5-ish or 9-ish to 6-ish. But please email me and we can set up a time to video conference, or if you do want to meet one-on-one, we can talk through that. Thank you so much for your time and attention. And please let me know if you have any questions at all. Thank you.